Hi. Do you tend to stay too long at parties, for example, or at jobs or in relationships because you're afraid to miss something or you're trying to milk it for all it's worth? I wanted to talk about that today because it came up a few times yesterday when I was coaching. And I remembered that back when I was married, my ex-husband had a much better sense of when to leave a party than I did, because I tended to have FOMO and wanted to stay to the bitter end. The people are sort of half drunk, splayed out on the couches. And at that point, I was safe to say, like, oh, okay, yeah, probably nothing else exciting is going to happen. But he had a sense of when the party was actually at its peak and about to go down, about to start to go down, which I didn't feel as well at the time. I'm much better about it now. So we created an agreement in our marriage that when we were at a party and he got that feeling like, oh, this is as good as it's going to get. This is so great. And it feels so good. And it's about to start heading south. He would come find me if we weren't already together and say, now's the time to go. And I'd be like, what do you mean? It's so great. We're having such a great time. And he would say, exactly, time to go. And I learned to listen to that. So I wanted to talk about the power of stopping or leaving at the peak. And when I say stopping or leaving, I don't mean that you just ditch your relationship or you ditch your job because it's peaked. It might be that the current form of your relating needs to change in some way. Maybe you've gone as far as you can go in this particular level of intimacy and your relationship is calling for you to go deeper. That might be the end of that particular peak, and it's time to find a way to go deeper. Or with respect to your job, maybe you've gone as far as you can go with your position in that particular form, and it's time to evolve your position, or it's time to find a new project within the job. So it's not just about leaving, it's about acknowledging that I've gone as far as I'm going to go with this right now in this current form, and to give yourself the room to feel for what the next form would be that would keep you on your growing edge. Now, this is also true in sex, that we are so conditioned to go all the way through to climax, one or both people climaxing, then that's the end. But often, one or the other partner might feel a peak. There might be a peak in the experience, and to keep going past it is to actually try to, it starts to go downhill, just like a party where you've stayed too long. And so try this out with your partner, if you have a partner, or even with yourself, if you're pleasuring yourself. Notice if there is a point where what you're doing feels really, really good, and then it starts to not quite feel as good. Maybe you start to get a little bored, or your mind starts to drift and you start thinking of the shopping list, or even something starts to hurt. Just stop. I suggest if you are doing a practice with a partner, that you work this out in advance so they're not shocked and they know that, you might be suggesting that you stop or change the position or change what you're doing or take a break and go get some water, whatever it is, but that you're going to be feeling for the peak instead of grinding all the way through. So I would love to hear your experience with this idea, whether it's shown up for you in your work or in sex or at parties or any other way where you've noticed, do you tend to stay too long? Did you get that feeling like, oh yeah, I'm done here, but you kept going for some reason? You didn't want to disappoint someone else, or you had FOMO, or you just didn't trust your feeling and you thought, oh, I must be wrong about that because this job is still so great, or this relationship is still so great, or whatever that is. So you doubted yourself. I'd love to hear in the comments how this shows up in your life. Have a good afternoon. Bye-bye.